with Mr. Cordray here. You used to be head of the CFPB. If a financial institution gave debt to a borrower expecting the borrower could not afford it, would you consider that predatory?
It would depend on the circumstances, but it certainly could be, may not be.
I don't. So yes or no, you'd say it depends. We don't know.
I'd say it depends on the circumstances.
Okay. At CFPB, what were the consequences of predatory lenders? What'd you do with them?
Well, the predatory lenders is a label. The question is somebody doing something that violates the law? If they're violating the law, we would enforce the law. If they're not violating the law, we'd let them go on their merry way.
Well, I guess I'd say in general, is predatory lending against the law?
Again, there's quite a bit of predatory lending that is against the law.
Okay,
it may not be that all of it is.
You think it's a bad thing to be a predatory lender?
Are you asking my personal view? Yes, I think it's a bad thing.
Good. That's a step in the right direction. Now, how should Congress or the department hold you accountable for the so-called Fresh Start initiative announced last April to provide defaulted borrowers full access to additional loans? In other words, people have already defaulted. Now we're going to give them additional loans, no question asked, without any indication of their ability to repay. If they were issued a death sentence, why are you issuing another loan?
So the Fresh Start initiative is closely related to the circumstances of the pandemic. During the pandemic, those in default were not required to make payments on their loans. They were subject to the pause just as all borrowers were, and therefore there were months and months, now going on almost 3 years, where they did not fail to make their payments. And it was thought appropriate to provide a second chance, the Fresh Start program.
So up the loan.
Beg your
pardon? Up the loan.
Say that again?
You authorized upping the loan, a bigger loan, because they weren't able to repay the last one.
I don't know about a bigger loan. I would say this, that those who had been in default, who came out of default during the pandemic pause, were allowed, we corrected their credit score to reflect their current situation, and we enabled them to apply for federal student aid and try to complete the credentials that very often defaulted borrowers found that they never completed in the first place, and that's a big part of their problem.
I think that's a questionable policy, and it hurts the populations of students that the administration claims to care about. I mean, we have a problem with too many people are taking out loans they can't repay. Prior to April 2022, did the department communicate directly with the servicers or guarantors about your actions?
We communicate with our servicers on a routine basis, multiple times a week, often multiple times a day. We're in constant communication with our servicers.
And again, between April of 22 and August of 22, did the department communicate directly with servicers, institutions, or other stakeholders about the implementation of Fresh Start?
We again have communicated our policies to our servicers. That includes Fresh Start, where we also have communicated publicly.
If you say, and I'll ask again, in December of 2022, so just a few months ago, the department released a Dear Colleague letter to guarantee agencies about Fresh Start. In the 5 months between August and December, did the department provide direct official communications to servicers, institutions, or other stakeholders about Fresh Start?
So again, Dear Colleague letters are public. Servicers have access to them as well. I know they watch them closely. We have discussions with the servicers constantly, day to day, week by week, month by month. They're well aware of what we're doing, and we have discussions, and they have opportunity to have discussions with us.
Okay. Throughout the Biden administration, student loan servicers and guarantee agencies have been left in the dark, we believe, and the fact that these partners and 7 million defaulted borrowers are left at the mercy of what we consider policy by press release approach of your agency is shameful. But I have a question for you in general.
Okay.
Do you believe that a lot of people are going to college in this country when they would be better going off to tech school or trade school? I say this as someone who tours my tech schools and trade schools and finds students who go there already have a 4-year degree that they got no value out of, or started towards a 4-year degree and didn't complete. So you got people in essence with 4-year degrees and no value. Does that bother you, and are you doing anything to prevent so much of that happening in the future?
I very much agree with you on this, sir, and we've been learning from those of you in Congress who have raised up the importance of trade schools and skill-based programs. Just yesterday, I was on the third of what is an ongoing tour of trade and skills-based programs to help people understand that federal student aid is available for those programs just as much as it is for traditional academic programs, and in many cases provides better value to the student, and that's something that we very much agree with you on.
Well, hopefully you'll push that, and I'm glad you're listening to what we're saying here. That's very, very encouraging.
Thank you. I now recognize Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll continue on with the work on the servicers.